Hey guys, what's going on? This is Pants R Dragon, and today we'll be doing a little video on the top 5 best AD carries for solo queue as of patch 6.3. Now I actually wasn't going to do this video, but the AD carry tier list has changed quite a bit in this patch, and so I just want to be doing a little quick update on the tier list. So with all that being said, let's get started. Alrighty, so at number 5 is going to be Corki. So Corki in this patch, his Q and R kind of got a little hit. The Q's base damage at max rank is lowered by 30 damage, while Missile Barrage's recharge rate at later levels is a little bit higher. But overall, I did think he was a number 1 AD carry last patch, but I also didn't realize he was also a mid laner. Well, I kinda did, but I thought he was more prioritized as an AD carry, but he is still a really good AD carry, although I think he's more of a mid laner. Either way, he's definitely a top 5 AD carry. Next up we have Ezreal. So we all know Blue Ezreal is really strong right now, but he's an AD carry who has a super safe laning phase and a monstrous mid game. He's also a champion who a lot of people like to play if it's their secondary role, since he's quite safe and easy to play. In the hands of an actual AD carry main, he's definitely still really good, but I feel like a lot of people would prioritize other champions than Ezreal if they are an AD carry main. That is why he's a little bit bumped down in the AD carry tier list, but obviously one of the best champions to play if you are not an AD carry main. Just because Iceborne Gauntlet gives you tankiness, so you won't be punished a lot for your mistakes, and the blue build is pretty cheap to get. Next up at number 3 is going to be Kalista. This is a hard carry champion for AD carry mains. She's a very high skill cap champion in the laning phase because of doing the execute E trick on a minion and then putting your spear on someone on the enemy team and doing a great amount of harass with just one auto. And that makes her a very powerful laner, especially if she all-ins someone because, well, her all-in potential is one of the strongest. So in that sense, she has a lot of kill pressure in the laning phase and can definitely snowball auto control to dominate the game. In the hands of a non-AD carry, well, you're probably not going to be as good as an AD carry main with her. But I've seen some really good Kalistas and they can definitely carry the game. Next up is going to be Lucian. So Lucian and Kalista are like kind of on the same level. Maybe Lucian is better, maybe Kalista is better, I'm not really sure. They're pretty equal to me. But the thing is, Lucian has a really good laning phase, and so he can definitely bully the enemy laners with his Q poke and his passive. Then he becomes a very mobile AD carry in the mid game because of his, 40% CDR build, so it's very hard to catch him and to kill him. And when an AD carry who knows how to play Lucian and knows his limits, and of course to play the early game really well, he can definitely be a very big threat, if you know what I'm saying. But the 3 champions you just saw here, Ezreal, Kalista, and Lucian, they're very close to each other in power levels. And there are only 3 champions in the AD carry role I see these days. Literally just those 3. Oh, except for the newest OP champion, Kog'Maw, coming at you at number 1. So Kog'Maw right now, oh boy, Riot fucked up yet again. So what they did this patch was they changed the Q's passive, the attack speed buff, to now the W. And you now do a minimum of 15 damage with your W, although I don't know how much of an impact that is, but maybe in the laning phase because you're only doing 2% maximum health damage. But basically, the reason he's so good right now is because you don't have to level Q anymore. You don't even have to put 1 point in it. You just max out W and E and you're good to go. We all know that Q is, well, basically a useless skill. Because it's a skill shot, of course it's going to get better once you get some points into it and shreds a bunch of armor and magic resist. But it is hard to put that somewhere in your combo because you gotta auto space and use your R and E and stuff like that. And well, before it was only used, to proc Triforce, I think, in Season 5. But yeah, now he's got the utility from his E, he's always going to do a bunch of damage as long as he builds attack speed, and his base damage is just really strong. He is what we call one of the gods of patch 6.3, and should always be picked or banned in Champion Select. If the enemy team gets him, you're going to regret it so bad. And now, usually we do the honorable mentions, but to be honest, I don't really see any other AD carries other than these 5. Sometimes they'll pick Caitlyn or like shitty ass Jhin. But for the most times, they usually pick these 5 AD carries, especially Kog'Maw. And so yeah, this is the meta you see right here, for at least this patch. We'll be doing a little segment where I answer questions from my last video. And George Viagra asked, how about Caitlyn? This champion I feel like is okay for LCS because she has like siege potential and her range and all that stuff. For solo queue though, I don't know man. It's all about that early game, and being good in team fights. But basically, whenever I look at Caitlyn in Champion Select, I'm a bit weary. I'm like, oh, you sure you don't want to pick Lucian or someone else? Someone with more damage or something like that. So yeah, I'm not really fond of her at all. I hate seeing her on my team, to be honest. Next up, Zoltan asked, how about Yellow Ezreal? So Ezreal doesn't really scale that well to crit. He relies a lot on hitting his Qs and yeah, hitting his Qs. It's not really that great as much as Blue Ezreal. And next up, The asks, what about Kindred AD carry? Yeah, I think she was played in LCS once, but Kindred anywhere but the jungle is just awful. Man, I see her just feeding her ass off every time whenever she's not in the jungle, and it's just like, what are you doing? Why are you going mid Kindred with her? But yeah, I mean, her passive, the best way to get stacks is being in the jungle and getting like kills or creeps around the map. Can't really roam if you're, you know, AD carry Kindred. And yeah, that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know the champion pool isn't that much, and usually I have honorable mentions, but I can't do that because there's literally no other champs being played in this role. Well, at least from what I see in my solo queue games. But yeah, leave a comment below on whatever champion you want me to discuss in the next AD carry tier list. I definitely think you guys want Vayne to be discussed in the next tier list because that's a pretty hot topic. So just put that in comments below and we'll definitely put that in. And if you did like this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you didn't, leave a dislike. And if you want to see future videos like this, make sure to subscribe. And I am Panzer Dragon, and I'll see you guys next time.